But Johnny, let's jump into our last topic, and we're going a little bit into the video game news, as you like to call it.
Since them damn video games.
Too Old a Game used to be the one where you come to MVP, that's where you get your gaming. But since we discontinued Too Old a Game, guess where it all comes back to, Johnny? Comes right back to us, because we talk about everything under.
And where's that bring you? Back to me.
Because we are inevitable, Johnny. This podcast is inevitable. Yeah. I saw you. I'm like, I'm going to stop talking so that he can actually snap. Oh, that's right. I've got him over here. But we're talking about Marvel's Avengers today. Before we get into everything, make sure to check us out, twitch.tv/MostValued Podcast. I've been playing some WoW. Dave and I played Borderlands a day. We stream different stuff at different times. Make sure to click that follow button on Twitch. You can get up to date of when we are live playing games. I've been, like I said, on a WoW kick of late. But then also, you can hit that, what is it, a sub button? And Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, if you got that free sub to throw to us, why not throw it to us? Help us out. If you can't give on Patreon, that is another great way, because Amazon gives you it for free. So why not toss that sub over to us? But Johnny, let's talk about this. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, I just want to ask you one thing. So the first link that I put on our rundown sheet is this week at New York Comic Con, we got a new trailer for the Marvel's Avengers game, where it looks like on top of playing as all the Avengers, we're also going to be able to play as Kamala Khan, who is Miss Marvel, or turns into Miss Marvel. And how they set it up in the trailer, just to kind of break it down, because a lot of it was story with like little snippets of gameplay, where you saw what it would be like to, her fist gets really big and she hits an enemy, or like you grab one and you smash it down like the Hulk would, basically. But what her story seems to be is after A-Day happens, which we've seen in all the trailers, Cap dies, she steals something from AIM, where it's apparently, from what it sounds like when she's talking to Bruce in the trailer, it kind of sounds like it's a cure for people like her. Like, hey, I've got these powers. I don't know where I got them from. Oh, we can cure you. Kind of a situation. She goes to Bruce. I'll be honest, Bruce is a little bitch and is like, hey, I'm going to bring you to Tony to kind of dump you onto him. Great dynamic in the trailer between, well, from Tony's part, because there's a line that's delivered perfectly of where Kamala Khan goes, so what, you're dumping me onto him? And Tony Stark right away is like, oh yeah, kid, that's what he does. And I was like, ooh, I like this Tony Stark. Bruce in this whole trailer kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but it's just a trailer. What is your thoughts, before we get into the big meat and potatoes, about us getting to play as Kamala Khan and her being in the story of Marvel Avengers?
I think it's kind of exciting, actually, because we've had really nothing with Kamala Khan, with the cinematic, with the...
We will, not yet.
Nothing with the the TV, sort of TV series with her. And this is the first thing we're going to get her in, is this game, which to me looks great. I know that we were listening to a video and they didn't have the best reviews, but I keep in mind that this is sort of here's a little bit of the game to play. This is not the full game to play for you guys. Yeah. This is some stuff we just want you to check out, because probably they don't want part of it's probably they don't want them to spoil the whole thing.
Well, there's that too.
And then this is also to fix up some of the fine details.
Yeah, because let's get into that since you mentioned it. The Kamala Khan stuff is amazing. I'm going to say it, amazing. I can't wait to play as her. But I will say I am still very skeptic about this game. Because what you mentioned is the podcast you and I were listening before this segment is a podcast that I really enjoy. I listen to almost all of their stuff, especially on the game side. But we're listening to the Kind of Funny Games cast with Kind of Funny Games. And the reason why I had us listen to it was, first off, you and I did not get invited to play the pre-alpha. Like, Come on, they weren't going to invite us.
No.
But they did. And like Greg, Andrea, they got to actually get their hands on, play the pre-alpha demo, which they've said numerous times was just what we've seen in the trailer. It's A-Day, shit's going on, Cap dies, you're playing that prologue, which part of it is I can see why they would only want to show that much because, like you said, they don't want to spoil anything. But also I kind of feel like this game doesn't want to be like an Anthem, where Anthem was people were really fucking hyped for it, and then it bombed completely. And obviously, we're going to go through some of the things that they mentioned with it. But the big question I want to ask, and this will start our conversation, is does this game, how much pressure does it have on it to be a great game? Because Greg in that podcast mentioned that the cross to bear for this game is being compared to Spider-Man, God of War, Tomb Raider, these genre-defining games. When he talked about playing as Thor, he said that when he threw Mjolnir and brought it back, it was like, okay, that's cool, but it's not like catching Leviathan in God of War. Which,
not to wonder if that's just because Leviathan came first.
That's part of me, like, with how many podcasts I listen, it's kind of like, you guys know, you listen to a lot of podcasts, you feel like you know the personality of the person you've been listening to for so long. With Greg, I feel like that's like, Greg played God of War, loved God of War, really loved that feeling the first time you caught Leviathan. I kind of feel like it's almost in the same way nostalgia kicks in, where it's like you remember that first time, it imprinted in your head such a great feeling, the dopamine started to flow through your brain, and that's why I feel like it didn't give that same one because you've already experienced it.
Yeah, already popped that cherry.
But he did mention, like, when he threw Mjolnir and, like, pinned people against the wall, all right, that was kind of cool. And I'll just ask you, I wanted to throw that out there. Does this game have too much pressure to be like God of War, like Tomb Raider, like Spider-Man?
It has a lot of pressure when it comes from people doing stuff like that to them. And yeah, they're gonna get compared to all three of those, just like they're also being compared to
Destiny,
Overwatch.
Overwatch
is more of a comparison
because of the character select.
That was that was later on. That's more of the what is it? That's the Warzones multiplayer section.
We'll get into.
We'll get into. I'm just saying that's what that was used for. So that's not really a comparison. But at that point, and when you're talking about the Warzones part, you can compare it to Overwatch then, and there's again a comparison to be made then, or across the bear with that part at that point too.
Are we expecting this to be a better game than it's going to be, though? Like, are we expecting it to be Game of the Year? And is it okay if it's not?
I think we're making a lot of pressure on it because it's Marvel. It's
the first Avengers.
It's the first Avengers like game that isn't like, oh god, I can't think. Marvel Avengers Alliance.
Yeah,
and where it's like, hey, you guys realize this is just a side-scrolling Marvel game. This is
which I hear is a good game. But
I hear too.
To me, it's not like, that. It's not like the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah.
Where it's like that was
whereas I feel like this is more of like it's supposed to be more like that, more like the Spider-Man, and it's supposed to be more like that. People and it's also like, but hey, you have more characters to choose from now to do that with. And I don't know 100% the gameplay yet. Maybe it's like, hey, in this level, or it's like it could be one of those games where, hey, in this level you're going to be Thor. In this level, you're going to be Iron Man because that's who you need to be to complete this part of the storyline.
Yeah.
And it may not be. I don't know yet because we didn't get to play it.
Yeah,
and we only get to see what happens in the trailers.
So from what they were describing on the podcast we listened to, some of the things was, one, there's an overhead map, kind of like you're on the helicarrier, and it's like, all right, I've got missions here, 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 here. But around those missions are those war zones that you talked about, where Andrea said the hero missions are your single player, those war zones are your multiplayer. And that's where you can play with other people. The one thing I did like that they mentioned is since each character has their own tree, which by the way, I don't know anything about the story. I'm assuming Cap's not going to be dead for the whole thing.
I would think
that he'll
not.
come back at one point. I hope so, because that's when they're talking about maining a hero, that's the hero I would like to main.
Wonder who I'm going to main.
Be my main as Lord of Thunder over there, or God of Thunder over there. But I mean, the thing I liked is when she said, since they've got those talent trees, if I play war mode with you and I stop playing my story is going to scale up with me. So if I level my Captain America up, and it's like, shit, it's not like I'm going to walk into a story and then walk through that mission because I'm higher level. It's going to scale with me. So I'm like, cool. I don't have to worry about if Johnny wants to play Warzone missions. If I have to go, no, let me finish the story first. That's
nice.
The thing that I think is iffy, where it brings in the Overwatch comparison, is what did you feel when it came to the war zones, where the whole debate of you can't have 4 Thors, you can't have multiple Thors, multiple Iron Mans. It's like, once Johnny picks Thor, he picked it soon enough. All right, even though I wanted to really play it, I got to pick something else.
It makes you want to, like, to me, it's just more of the, okay, so I'm going to have Thor ready. That's going to be my main. It's going to be like Overwatch. I don't play one character and one character alone.
In case someone picks
I play Diva. I play Arisa. Yeah, I'm a tank main. I'll say that. But I play Diva. I play Arisa. I play Reinhardt. I've been getting into Brigitte when I was before I stopped playing for as long as I have. But I also can play Pharah. I can play some Soldier 76. And I can play Bastion.
Sit in a corner and shoot with Bastion.
But yeah, I mean, I can play Torbjorn.
Yeah,
again,
Torbjorn was fun.
Torbjorn was fun to do. But yeah, I can play some of these, and those aren't the only characters I can play. I'm just joking about the last 2. I mean, anyone can play them.
So what Johnny just said, just so you know, if you main Torbjorn or Bastion, you have no skill. That's what Johnny just said.
Unless you can do really good and like
flippy turn.
If you're good with the Bastion, you're good with the Bastion when you aren't just like, I'm gonna sit here and keep shooting people. No, it's
I'm a basic bitch.
I'm gonna sit here, shoot a few people, move, shoot a few people, move, shoot. That's where I'm like, that's what I do with Bastions. But my favorite is when a Genji, to get off sidetrack,
deflects you.
When he deflects and you stop and he goes, what the fuck did I just do?
What am I supposed to do? Usually then they just charge me. It's like, fuck, I'm
What I think it's funny though is like, he goes to, like, he charges to get in there and does the deflect. And I just sit there looking at him going, oh, that's some fancy sword movements.
Yeah. Usually at that point, they'll try to get behind me at some point or get on top of me where it's like I can't.
When they do try to do that. But it's funny because, like, that was my favorite part is when they would use their dash.
Like, shit, I can't do because they don't have their dash.
Yeah, because they use their dash to get in, then use their the block, and I go, I'm going to just stop shooting.
Yeah. Bullets can't hurt me if I don't shoot them.
Exactly. But yeah, back on track.
But getting back to
I like that aspect actually because then I don't have 4 Thors flying around.
Yeah, it doesn't seem redundant to me.
Exactly. It doesn't seem kind of honestly dumb because
that's seems
the
realistic.
Point. That's the point of the game. There's only one Hulk.
Yeah.
There's only one Iron Man. And then as they expand, because look at that, the game's not even out yet, and they added Kamala Khan. You can eventually add.
I think they added It's not them adding Kamala Khan. I think it's them being like, hey, New York Comic Con, we're gonna have
here's a little more.
We got a release date. It's now May 20th of 2020 or May. I'll have to look at the Kamala Khan trailer. But like,
I think it was
that.
May
I think
20th.
it's like, hey, we're going to put that trailer out because she is an integral part of this story.
But I'm saying though, sort of, we got at first we thought, oh, it's just the main Avengers minus Hawkeye.
May 15th.
Okay. It's like, oh, you got the main Avengers minus Hawkeye. Now it's like, hey, we actually added an extra element to the story, guys. There's Kamala Khan, who says that like later on DLC they can't do a Red Hulk. Then you can't have multiple Hulks. We've added a Beta Ray Bill. We've added a Riri Williams at some point in the game, like as the game is out. Like, hey, next year You're going to be having an option of, we're going to have a whole Thunderbolt Ross Hulk storyline, and you can eventually play as Red Hulk.
Here's another question that I have, though, circling my head.
Yeah.
Did this game need... And I know we haven't played it, and I want to be positive about... I want to be positive about this because, it's Avengers. Yeah. And I want it to be good. And the thing that I will say, Dave, not throwing shade on you or anything, because I know he's listening. The thing I love about our conversations is we try to stay as positive as possible. The thing that sometimes gets me very annoyed when talking to Dave, but I like it because it kind of keeps you on your toes, is Dave will come at you with the devil's advocate. And it's like, okay, if you're going to be super positive, I'm going to come at it with the, not negativity, but I am going to come at it with you're talking lollipops and rainbows, and here's your fucking cloudy day that I'm going to put over to kind of,
lollipops
to bring you down, not bring you down, but hey, let's not have this be a hype train that's going up and up and up and up and up. Let's damper them if we need to.
I'll say there is a lot of pressure on this game to be good.
I want it to be good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I sit there and I go, I'm nervous because there's a part of me that's like, does this game even need to be a multiplayer? Does there need to be a multiplayer aspect to it? Spider-Man. I loved Spider-Man. No multiplayer aspect. The Arkham games. I love the Arkham games. No multiplayer aspect. I love The Last of Us. Didn't play online. I know that Last of Us added in their faction war thing, which was an online mode. I didn't play it online. I was done with the game before that. So it was sometimes it's Days Gone as well. Didn't play online. There are some of these games where it's is this game going to try to be doing too much? Or does this, and that's the thing that worries me of should this just be hey, we've got a great story. It's a single player story. You're going to love it. Should that have been what this game is and not have that Warzone multiplayer aspect to it?
I'm actually fine with the Warzone multiplayer aspect because it's not a Spider-Man. It's not a... what games did you say? My brain's
Days Gone, God of War. I'm just throwing out new ones now.
Yeah, and those are
Last of Us.
Last of Us. It's not those games. It's not Arkham because those were all centralized on one specific character. You have Iron Man, potentially Cap. We'll say just potentially just because he's dead. He's probably going to be in there later. You have Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Kamala Khan. All those characters. And
I'm assuming they're going to add characters.
They probably will
too.
add characters.
There's going to be DLC
before
they add on.
If not before we get the actual game, because like I said, Kamala Khan was a surprise.
True.
So they may have a few others up their sleeve. That's as soon as the game drops. By the way, here's 3 more characters.
Yeah.
Here is a Hawkeye. Here is a so and so. Here's a so and so. But excuse me. That's the thing. It's that kind of you can't just. It's kind of. Are you really going to want to buy the game if it's just, here's your just one character and that's it? And it kind of helps play into it. It's hey, we have multiple characters.
I think they could have, and I'm not standing on the soapbox saying get rid of the multiplayer. I'm just asking the question of, did they need it? I think you could have made a great just single player game with the whole group. You didn't have to you don't have to single in on okay, you're only Iron Man for this entire story.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. It's I like the fact of that is because it plays into, hey, we have multiple characters. Well, guess what? You can also use them as a team now.
You need to play with your friends.
You don't just have
as
to.
The Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to just sit there the whole time okay, I'm doing just Thor by myself or with the NPCs. No.
Yeah.
I can hey, Ricky, jump on. You can play Cap. Mike can play Hulk.
Yeah.
So whoever can play whoever.
Dave can be Hawkeye.
I mean, Dave can be Iron Man if he wants, because I don't know if Ron's going to play.
True. Good point. Good point. Which that was another thing too of and I get it's an early alpha. Which
exactly.
It's not even a beta. It's not the actual game. It's an early alpha.
Which is why I'm taking their thing with a grain of salt.
And some of the things that they said was, and this is from Greg, Iron Man was weak. Thor was okay. Black Widow was good. Hulk was fun. And the one that really, when I heard it, like got me bummed was Iron Man. Mm-hmm. But from what I understand, and Andrea kind of elaborated on it, is it didn't seem like, yet again, they let them do too much with it. Where it was kind of like, hey, you're not going to be doing much flying things, because even they mentioned, like with Thor, you didn't get to use his aerial game much. It was all on the ground. And it's like, that's not Iron Man. Iron Man's not, I'm just walking around, repulsor. It's, I'm in the air, I'm flying, I'm doing this, I'm doing all this cool shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking Iron Man. And that's where there's a part of me that maybe it's because it's early alpha, but should Crystal Dynamics and Marvel do an event kind of like what The Last of Us did recently, where they invited influencers and games journalists into LA, and they gave them 2 parts of the game and said, you got 2 hours. And you got to play 2 hours of the game, where it wasn't like, hey, it's just the prologue. It's, hey, this is the game. You get to play the game. Go. Whatever you want to do. Like, there were some people that branched off into one area, some that branched off into a different one. It was like, you had the 2 hours to do what you want. Did you want to sneak around and kind of do that, or did you just want to try to bowl right through, get as far as you can in the 2 hours? It was up to you. Should they do something like that? Like, to kind of, I'm going to say, not temper expectations, but get the expectations back up. Because even when this game was announced at E3, I felt it was surrounded by a lot of negativity. At E3, it was the whole, look at how the characters look. That's the Avengers. Yeah. That's not the Avengers. And now it's like people are playing the game, and it still doesn't seem like people are super, like, I feel like we're super excited because it's Marvel and the Avengers, but it's not being backed up in the thoughts after playing the game and after seeing the game from some people.
And I think a lot of that has to do right now with the fact that they only got like the early alpha version of the game.
And they just played the prologue.
You might not get the grab bag of powers because they don't want to spoil parts. Yeah. It might be parts that, like, hey, we can't give it to you right now because that would start spoiling parts of the game. That's why maybe you didn't get Thor's aerial game yet.
Yeah.
Or why Iron Man was so weak. And Hulk, just like he said, Hulk is just generic Hulk, so I think it would be fun no matter what. I had a Hulk video game for the PS2, and it was just fun to smash.
That's all Hulk is, right?
It really is. If you're Hulk, you're Hulk smash.
The one thing I will say, I mentioned it before, if you watch the Kamala Khan trailer, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the voice acting, because I think that's not Troy. Troy Baker isn't Hulk, right?
I have no idea.
Let's see. I'm going to look it up really quick. Because, it's Troy Baker, who I really fucking love. It's just Bruce Banner completely rubbed me the wrong way in that trailer, which, by the way, Nolan North, who's amazing, Superman, he did a great job, I think, as Iron Man in that trailer. So, like, for me, it's, I want to be excited about this game. I am going to be excited about this game, but I am very nervous about this because, there's going to be pressure on it. Should there be pressure on it? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
It's your first Avengers game. And the thing I'm going to hate is if it's not good, that they go, well, fuck it, we're not doing this again. And then we never get one of these yet again. Any final thoughts before we wrap this shindig up?
No, I'm also excited about it. Yeah, I got my hopes, a little bit of nervous for it, but I'm like, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I like what I hear so far, and I'm taking like comments like that with a grain of salt because I get it. That's early alpha. You're not going to get everything. It's still got fine-tuning to be done.
Plus,
there's stuff that's still being worked on.
Plus, everyone's different. Greg,
exactly.
When he caught Mjolnir, that may be different to you.
Exactly.
Also, because you're a Thor guy. Like, being that Thor guy, catching it and not have playing God of War might be like, yes, that fucking feels good.
Yeah, I don't have the my cherry's not popped on catching Mjolnir or something like that.
On the other side, it's going to be even more devastating for someone like you is if you go to catch it and it doesn't feel like that. That's the flip side. If it feels like, oh, well, that was weak. For someone, I would say you over me. For you, that'd be devastating because it's like, oh, but that's my guy. Like when you play a game and you're psyched about this one character and then you start playing them and you're like, wow, this character sucks. Well, and then you're like, fuck, this was my guy though. Like this is the one, especially like with the Avengers, like people have their hero. The one that's like, hey, if I'm the Avengers, this is who I am.
That's the funny part is I'm trying to think of now, like as soon as we start seeing this, okay, like the Warzone stuff, it's like, okay, I'm going to main as Thor, but who am I going to pick as my like backup and third backup
Tony.
now? Probably Iron Man is one of them, and I was actually thinking Kamala Khan for my third.
Really?
I was for my third, yeah.
I'm thinking about Black Widow. Black Widow kind of seems cool. Another thing that they threw out was, I guess, her and the Taskmaster.
Yeah.
That fight's kind of weird because Taskmaster's just a weird fight for video games. Because
he learns your pattern.
He learns your move. So it's like, that's why I liked how Spider-Man did it, where it wasn't a long out fight.
Yeah.
It was, he would come, you'd attack him with something. Like, let's say I got in a punch.
Yeah.
Like, dodge punch. All right. Can't do that the second time. I got to use web punch or web. Okay, I can't do that again because now he knows that. But yet again, comparing it to a really good game in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I hope this is a great game, and this is where I want you guys to come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. First off, the Kamala Khan stuff. What did you think about that trailer? It's going to be down below in the description. And then also, what are your expectations for this game? Are they being tempered? Are they being pushed to the moon or shot to the moon? What do you think about all this kind of early alpha impressions? Or are you keeping it like what Johnny said? It's early alpha. I'm not expecting it to be balls to the wall great, but I want it to be there when May 15th comes. Let us know what you guys think down below. Make sure to check us out, patreon.com/MostValuedPodcast, how you support us. If you can't support us there, twitch.tv/MostValuedPodcast, Amazon Prime. They give you that free sub. You can just throw it our way, and then it doesn't cost you anything. So if you can't support us on Patreon, you can support us there. And then also, I'm at Ricky Widmer, at War Machine 9085, but on Instagram, you can also follow Johnny.
Thor_Odinson90.
Thor_Odinson90. And then Most Valuable Podcast is Most Valuable Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. We went a little bit too long, and I'm not going to get up just to pop the camera on for these last few seconds. But thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.